Whenever a loved one dies or experience a personal tragedy or illness, we start to really reflect on death and ask ourselves, what really happened after we die? Or is there anything behind? Are the things that some people refer to as souls, spirits, energies, awareness, or ghosts actually there when we die? After a loved one passes away, we typically need a lot of comfort. Therefore, we often convince ourselves that they are in good hands, have entered a peaceful paradise, or have become angels. Does that imply that deceased people exist in other realms or world? In medical terms, death is the point in life when your physical body stops working to survive. You take the last breath. Your heart stops beating. Your brain stops working. Other vital organs shut down. All of your body's system die. They're no longer capable of carrying on the ongoing processes as living. According to modern scientific education, death is most often represented as a terminal state, a nothingness, an oblivion, or a void that ends life and obscures it forever. It connects with sleep, darkness, and unconsciousness. Death is feared by those who are happy or believe they should be happy because it is the end. But it is desired by those who are in suffering, burdened with unimaginable pain and anguish, as a glorious final solution. For that reason, many people feel that death is final. No brain, no body, no life, no consciousness. There is a I, the individual consciousness, while the heartbeat and brain activity are alive. But the I should stop along with the brain waves when they have flat line. The concept of that consciousness awareness. Are we misunderstanding ourselves? Or are we simply comforting ourselves? There is no I. Therefore, there are no anxieties, responsibilities, worries, or sensations, which will provide us with a huge comforting sense of relaxing peace into a ground state, or will make us more anxious. No I means I cannot help my family. I cannot have my money, a house, and my entire life of dedication has vanished. No more mind, no more control, even my body. This is the end. If that is true, in what way can you explain someone who has had a near-death experience or someone who is dying claims that the dead family members visit to take them? Or someone who had dreams about their dead loved ones and told their future? Many persons who have had a near-death experience have reported that they saw their deceased family members welcome them, or that they witnessed how medical professionals handle them either right next to them or in the air after the doctor announces their death, while they are looking at their own body on the bed. One of our members told us he was dreaming about his deceased sister. He said she approached him, showed him 3 numbers with her fingers 3 times, and then left without saying anything, just to show numbers and disappear. After 3 days, we received a phone call informing us that he had died 3 days prior. Somebody discovered him 3 days later after he died, and an autopsy found that he had been alive for 30 minutes after collapsing from a heart attack. We've heard or seen so many incidents like this that it is hard to believe that death is final and there are no other realms after we died. Furthermore, the idea that death is nothing in consciousness is not a scientific fact. It is a conceptual idea. Humans have extrasensory perception, which indicates that we are capable of more than just the brain function. Oracles or mediums provide extremely personal information transmitted by the deceased, even if they know nothing about the people who ask it. Some children recall their previous lives, which turn out to be true.
I'm gonna be the same thing that James M. Houston was.
Her for a painting my past mother had done.
To know what happened and where I was in my past life. Everybody in the world lives more than one.
They were alive, and then all the wobble hit. I don't feel any
Spirit
died.
that I used to have when I was 4, 5, 6 has gone away. I'm just James now.
Scientists now have evidence from heart and kidney transplant cases where recipients take on the personality characteristic of donors, information about whom they knew nothing. Sometimes we are able to read the thoughts of others, and other times we are able to sense the physical state of the world from a distance. Occasionally, we are able to predict the future. It might be big or quite small. Some people have doubts about these unique experiences because some scientists or religions cannot tolerate even the smallest evidence or questions for fear of their own beliefs, doubts, and lack of answers, or because they believe it to be unconfirmed scientific evidence. So just play along. It was instinct or randomness. However, if we expand our search for proof, we will find it everywhere. I went to Ulambana event, which is one of the largest Buddhist ceremony for dead people. On this day, Buddhists believe that all deceased people have a permission to visit the world to see their family or friends and eat the food they enjoyed it when alive. That is why food offerings are so important, as they alleviate the suffering of disease. Welcome them with the food, prayer, and chanting to guide them be born in a better place by following Buddha's teaching. Before the ceremony began, the master asked me write down the name of my deceased family member. The only person in my family who had died was my grandmother on mother's side. So I casually wrote her name. After the ceremony, the master approached me and said, "Your grandmother lives." At that point, I was stunned. Because she died so long ago when I was a child, her appearance was buried in my memory. But when the master mentioned, it was like a lightning flash. Oh yeah, she was limping. I didn't pay attention because I was so young, but I do remember her walking. If death is final and that person no longer exists, how can the master tell me how she walks and stories that only family members know, even if it happened a long time ago? Death is often connected with a deep sleep. Because of that, there is no of consciousness. However, the neuroscientists have shown that even when we are alive, there are important unconscious processes in our brains that we are unaware of, and that most of our decisions are made without our knowledge. For example, we sleep every day and spend 1/3 of our lives with little to no conscious awareness. However, sleepwalking is not the case. When sleepwalkers saw themselves, they all stated, "That's not me. I didn't do that." Or, "How the heck I did this?" Because there is no identity, consciousness, or awareness there. Yet, they could eat without choking, dance without falling, draw perfect shapes, and even drive without accident. All while in a deep state of sleep that was hard to awaken from. Scientists said during sleepwalking, the motor cortex, visual cortex, and parts of the brain that regulate behaviors like as balance and speech can all become active without engaging conscious awareness. The self awareness, known as the prefrontal cortex. However, assuming this is the case, how will sleepwalkers understand questions and answers? How they became aware of the question and provide an excellent response. Scientists now have data in a number of areas indicating that our unconscious makes many of our daily decisions. If consciousness exists while we are deep asleep or under anesthesia, shouldn't we question the notion that our entire identities evaporate when our physical bodies die? Think about it. Things that you desire, attach to, and long for throughout your life, whether material or person, could vanish when you die, leaving no trace? I have seen people die with open eyes because their children are too young or disabled. Some people are so eager to reveal their hidden belongings to their children that it seems like they are talking even after they have died. Others keep screaming out names because they are missing, hate them, or want to apologize before their time is up, but never get to do it. One of the cancer patients dreamed of owning a building and talked about it until her final breath. Could all of our emotions, relationships, resentment, and unfulfilled wishes come to a stop when we die? Is it that easy? Then why couldn't we do it when we were alive? People refer to the life after death as souls, spirit, energies, awareness, consciousness, or ghost. However, in Buddhism, it is referred to as karma. Karma is the one make you as you. Your mentality, morality, characteristics, hobby, interested of things, food, color, like, dislike, the way you think, talk, and act, and even your appearance are all examples of karma. It determines a person's future birth and personality trait. Buddhism believes that you are born with the karma, die with the karma, and only that karma exists after death, because it is you. Even we grew up with the same parents and environment, you and your siblings are not same. Our unique taste, colors, fashions, interests, and perspective have defined us since birth. I remember that each of my friends' grandchildren were very different. Way they cry, eat, play, even as babies. Sometimes it is hard to accept that they were raised together. My siblings too. I can take extra spicy food, but my brother cannot even look at little tiny spicy dishes.
Twins have fascinated me.
And I have a lot of
It's hard for me to trash anything. I'm not a part of any system. A very shy person.
I need to get attention
I'm
from people.
active.
Always want the center of people.
It's okay, but I'd rather be in city than
I love to help
being out
people,
there.
but I always
I can't
stop
swim
because
in
it's hard for me.
Philadelphia.
I just
I'm
love to
afraid
write,
of water.
you know?
And
I
like
just
reading,
don't
of course.
like
It's a
I love
response
to
to
me,
things
but
that are
for some
Writing
reason
is
I don't
like
like to.
something in my heart, always.
Karma is that. The consequences of our actions, intentions, and thoughts are karma, which is what we were born with. We are carrying karma from previous lifetimes while also building future lives. That is who we are. Some believe that the spirit can fly out of the body and travel after death. But karma does not work that way. If you have high expectations of others around you, you'll be extremely disappointed and angry with them after you die, since your expectations remain the same as when you were alive. But your family does not think about you as much because you are dead, and they cannot see you. Even without expectations, you feel ignored by them. They no longer see you, speak to you, call you, or eat with you. Think about it. You eat 3 times each day, plus snacks between meals. How can you state that after death you don't need to eat because you don't have a physical body? If that's the case, how many times did you eat with awareness? Or did you simply consume food because it was time or because you had to? How can that basic habit pattern suddenly disappear because you don't have a body? The habit is one of our strongest identity define who we are, making it difficult to change. Have you ever tried to change a basic awful behavior that you hate but couldn't get yourself to stop? If it is that difficult, how on earth could we make all of our traces vanish in a second when we die? So what really happens after we died? Buddhism teaches that we remain for 49 days in the state of the intermediate existence in this world after death. And after this time is up, according with the karma that we built up in our former lives, we are reborn in another world called the 6 realms. The 6 realms are 6 distinct stages of life within the reborn cycle, symbolizing different levels of pain and experience depend on one's karma. The God realm, the Asura realm, the human realm, the animal realm, the hungry ghost realm, and the hell realm. These realms are based on karma, a person's conduct in prior lifetimes. Hatred, violence, malice, ill will, resentment, despise, and enmity produced by harmful related behaviors driven born in hell. The karma experience unimaginable the painful sense of heat, cold, compression, and slicing. Infinite in their horrifying diversity and experience negative. There are also images of hell that are mentally torturous. Just as hate creates the hell, endless greed, magnified and responds to form the hungry ghost realm. They have an obsession with hunger, thirst, craving, and frustration. They're born with a small mouth that are miles long and the diameter of pinholes, and enormous bellies the size of a stadium. It is very hard for them to find food and water. But when they do find something that looks like food, it is hard to get, swallow, and eat. When they try to eat, it burns as it passes through the body and causes unbearable pain instead of giving satisfaction. This is neither a punishment or a reward. Everything we've ever done stays with us after death. And when we have an experience, we take it as an action. Invisible karma manifests in physical form. For example, everything you've done in your life is established emotionally in the consciousness of the individual with whom you interacted. As a result, if you have hurt someone, you are that person, and you feel the misery you have caused in that person's life directly and empathically. On the other hand, if you've done something kind for someone, you'll feel fantastic. Someone who commits suicide, if they are lucky enough to have the right guidance and good karma, may be able to go to a realm where they can experience their suicide moment over and over again all day long, 24 hours, 7 days. And those lessons could impact their suicide karma and perspectives when they reborn as humans. Karma influences our birthplace and rebirth. Previous life is what you are now, present comments are your future. Some may consider the 6 realms as metaphors rather than actual places. Nevertheless, they exist and illustrate life as we know it now here. Some people are driven by basic urge to eat, sleep, and reproduce, just like animals. The hell realm appears those who believe they live in extreme misery and are careless about the well-being of others. Their personal victimization is so great that they could cause serious harm to those around them. The hungry ghosts are people who are ruled by obsessive desire, chasing the next possession, food, or relationship, only to become dissatisfied and craving the next thing. Our living world consists of 6 realms if we look carefully. To cultivate the art of dying well and wisely use the science of death, we must recognize that all of these realms must be considered as real as our present lives in the human realm. Because If we die in an unenlightened state, our karma return to ignorance, are reborn in the 6 realms of delusion and pain, and eventually reach old age and death. Repeat the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. As a result, Buddhism emphasizes the need of dying well is the need of living well. Reflect and monitor your life. Solve conflict with others around you. Listening to others instead of being stubborn. Letting go of attachment, emptying your thoughts to accept wisdom. Removing toxic emotions, filling your heart with generosity, and expressing love to others. Practicing selfishness and to accept uncertainty. Finding peace and balance. Generous heart, kind speech. A life of service and compassion. Most importantly, practice 8-fold path. Look at things rightly, think about things rightly, speak the right word, perform right conduct, lead right human life, endeavor to live rightly. Consistently aim the mind in the right direction. Consistently keep the right mind and never be agitated by anything. If we cleanse our karma by listening to the Buddha's teachings and following the Bodhisattva way, the state of ignorance disappears, and our karma can be reborn in higher realms. Because of the karma created by our own lives, repeated cycles of birth and death, from the infinite past to the present. Life is unpredictable, and we often encounter unexpected events. Even if you refuse to accept anything after death, you will lose nothing if you prepare. Because karma implies action that results in growth and transformation. Everything you do will have an impact on your life, not only when you die, but also in the present moment. In Buddhist science, there is no fate. You are the one who generates evolutionary momentum. Everything is really in your hands. You have all the power over the situation, with the ability to make decisions and shape the result of all incidents in your life. You are in charge and capable of managing everything yourself, even your death and reborn.